I want to share with you my coaching philosophy and how I think the sport has evolved. Like with pretty much any sport, things have improved. The way that lifters move, the way that they move the bar, the way they position their body has evolved so that they can optimize the weights lifted. And with any sport, we're always trying to be that little bit better. We're always trying to find a way to outlift our opponents. Now, making the assumption that we are doing so cleanly and within the rules of the sport, then technique is something that most lifters really want to be the very best that they can be at doing. Now, for myself as a lifter, I've come through the ranks as a youngster, started the sport in the 90s, and I've seen a lot of changes that have taken place over the last 3 decades. Now, I want to share with you what some of those changes are and what my coaching philosophy is and how that has evolved over that time. When I started as a 13-year-old at school, there was very much a style of coaching, and that style of coaching was everywhere. Every coach that I knew, not just in Great Britain, but around the world, coached in a way that was very, very similar. And there's a couple of key things that I want to explain with you and share. The first being shoulder position in relation to the bar. Most coaches would use the term over the bar. Stay over the bar would be a term that you would commonly hear in a training hall. What did it mean? Stay over the bar. Well, if we look at where the shoulders are from side on, I coach the crease of the armpit as the key position. And over the bar could be these days interpreted as directly above or forwards of. But for clarification, the term over the bar used to refer to shoulders forwards of the bar. So if we are forwards of the bar, then we end up holding the bar onto us in order to keep it in contact. There's no way you could have loose arms in that position because the bar would dangle away from the body. The other key point or key position that was coached was to do with trying to get the bar higher. A coach would often say, stay over and first pull as you come past your knees, grip and go, or tug and shrug. We're trying to get the bar as high as possible by shrugging and pulling, shrugging with the upper traps, the upper shoulders, and pulling with the arms. And it was this style of coaching that was very much about brute strength and very little care. I'm not saying little care, less care and attention to the body position. It was more about using your upper body to try and pull the bar as high as you could before getting underneath. This is how I used to lift, and as I said, this is how everybody that I knew lifted and all the coaches coached. And it wasn't until I was challenged as an 18-year-old when I stopped improving, I plateaued, that I looked for other ways to be efficient. I had to find a different way to move because where I lacked in physical strength, I had to make up for somewhere else. And this is why one of the contributing factors to me changing my technique. And that is when I developed, I guess, my own coaching philosophy, which is what I now talk about on social media and I share with you. As with anything, there is more than one way to lift the bar from the floor overhead. We can snatch or pick a bar up and perform something that kind of resembles a snatch, or we can move really efficiently, really powerfully, really optimally to maximize the weight lifted. Now, depending on how you've been coached will determine how you move with the bar. I'm a firm believer that there are efficient ways and there are less efficient ways. And what I'm trying to present and to put across to all of you who follow me and support me is how to do so optimally and with safe technique. I want you to be able to enjoy the sport that I've enjoyed for many, many years, but at the end of the day, I want you to be able to move as well as you possibly can. Now, my coaching philosophy has changed and I've totally transformed the way that I used to lift and the way that I coach. So instead of saying shoulders forwards of the bar or over the bar, the way I coach is shoulders above the bar. And when I say above, by definition, I'm talking about directly above. So the crease of the armpit, once the shoulders are set back and down, stays above the bar. Above the bar in the start position, as the lifter pushes with the legs, it's above the bar as we reach mid-thigh. If the lifter can maintain those positions, then they can drive powerfully using the legs, get the bar floating upwards before dropping underneath. For me, it's no more about shrugging and pulling and seeing how high we can get the bar. I don't want a lifter to have the bar up here, to catch it up here and ride it in. Even at speed, if you look at a good lifter who shrugs and pulls, they will perform the movement really quickly. But they're still delaying the time dropping under because they're trying to hang on to it too long, in my opinion, here. A lifter, however, that can really switch the arms off, make those arms become more elastic, can really then optimise and generate maximum power from the big muscles, the quads and the glutes. And if you can do that, we can get upward momentum on the bar. And you see a good lifter, they'll end up passing the knees, exploding, loose arms, bar floats. And it's around here. So the lifter is almost in that squat position when the bar starts to come back down. Compare that to a lifter that shrugs and pulls. Bar reaches its highest point at the same time the lifter does, and both are rushing to the bottom at the same time, but the bar is already quite low. So that is, I guess, in a nutshell, my coaching philosophy and what I am very passionate about passing on to anybody that wants to listen. There are many, many coaches still coaching shoulders over the bar. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying that I believe the way that I coach is more efficient and safe. Let me just explain the safety point. A lifter that is forwards of the bar, here, because they're forwards, they will end up, as they pass their knee, opening up at the hip. As a result, momentum more often than not will take the shoulders backwards, causing a lower back to arch or hyperextend. And if the shoulders have gone backwards, look where the hips go, forwards. And then we get a big swing on the bar. So we've got risking back injury in that hyperextended position. We're also then going to be risking shoulder injury by trying to stabilise an unstable bar that is swinging overhead. Look, I say again, more than one way to lift the bar from the floor overhead or to the shoulders. You make the decision as to what works for you. And hey, feel free to reach out and ask any questions that you've got. If you found this useful, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be posting loads more of these videos to help you be the best lifter that you can be.